welcome to Star Citizen and a news update. Because in addition to the news from yesterday, today the confirmation for the PTU patch for the 3.21. Because we were able to visit the PYRO Jump Point, which is already in the game with the 3.21. The whole thing is of course not yet final and currently rather a first and early version. But we find the really gigantic jump point, which can be found with an incredibly large nebula in the area of ArcCorp, directly in the 3.21. Here the textures and shaders are of course not yet final, and we see here on one of two sides. On the one hand, the area is completely blue, on the other hand, rather orange. And as far as the size ratio is concerned, we still have a few 100,000 kilometers to fly directly into the nebula. And it is much more difficult to fly the jump point, which is of course not yet usable, because it is clearly located a few 100,000 kilometers below the normal axis of rotation. Therefore, we will show you how to get to the point where the nebula is located, but then you have to fly as straight down as possible for a few more minutes. And that's the problem. Flying down in a three-dimensional space is not exactly a satisfactory statement. However, we cannot give you a better tip at the moment. Alternatively, you will often find direct jump buoys of other players on the PTU servers. For approach, we recommend the route from MIC L3 to ArcCorp, where you stop here on the blue line as accurately as possible. And from this point you set a new route towards Arc L2. Here you stop at about 17.7 million kilometers and should then come out at this point. But from this point it is still a few 100,000 kilometers and several minutes of flight time, as low as possible 90 degrees. Then you reach a blue blob. And if you fly further there, which is also a few thousand kilometers, you will also reach the nebula and the jump point. However, the servers are currently anything but stable. And above all, you should avoid a double click in the star map, as you usually get a crash to desktop here. And in the Pipeline Discord there were already some who probably moved a little closer, where we found the following screenshots for you. And we also linked the first discoverers to you in the appropriate Spectrum link. Here Kainan, Dragony Knight, Mappa TV, Notball and Stas Hopper did a great job. And whether the implementation of the PYRO Jump Point was an absolute coincidence shortly before the CitizenCon, we do not believe it, but think that it has a direct connection to the CitizenCon and a local announcement. Because we had something similar with the implementation of the ANS Jericho station and the big Zenithred event shortly after, the first of its kind and so far the best event in the game. Therefore, the CitizenCon will be even more exciting. And of course you will experience this live in the stream, with live reports on site and of course a German translation. See you soon!